My wife died of cancer at home after 8 long months of hospice care. In the morning after she died, I sat alone here in this quiet house, feeling like a war had just ended, but the only victor was death. And as I brewed a cup of coffee, a sudden surge of anger flooded my body, and it startled me. Aren't I supposed to be sad right now? Why was I angry? About a week after her funeral, I started traveling because travel was one way that I dealt with my grief. The 4 walls of the house told me the same old stories, but the open road told me new ones. My first stop was Seattle, Washington, and at breakfast with a good friend who lives there, he asked me, "Do you find yourself talking out loud to her?" I said, "Oh, no, not at all." He said, "Really? Why is that?" I said, "Well, I'm afraid she will hear me, and we'll get into another argument." He said, "That's probably a pretty good place to start." So I took his advice, and on my walk about the city that day, I stopped at Elliott Bay Bookstore. I bought a yellow moleskin journal and an ink pen, and I found a table at their coffee shop. And I sat down and began to write. And out of me came some of the most honest and vulnerable words I've ever given myself permission to express. They were so honest, they were uncomfortable to reread. So uncomfortable, I felt the need to add a disclaimer in the front of the journal. I wrote, "Whoever finds this, please understand that these are the words of an angry, grieving man. Don't try to return it to me. Just go ahead and destroy it for me. I have a feeling I won't need it back eventually anyway." Anger is an invitation. It's a signal inside the body to alert us when something is wrong and needs attention. And what I discovered was that yellow journal was my RSVP to the invitation. What I found was I held a tremendous amount of unresolved conflict that was never going to get resolved again. There were wounds and hurts that were never going to get healed together, and I was left holding all of it all alone. And that made me very angry. See, anger is an invitation, but it is never, ever a solution, because anger can't solve anything. Anger can only produce more of itself. And this is why anger management is futile. Anger is far too important to be relegated to a handful of tips and techniques to try to contain it. It doesn't need management, it needs leadership. It needs a leader it can trust that will move it into a better future and not just an angry one. It needs a leader that is patient. It needs one that's kind, doesn't boast or isn't envious, certainly doesn't keep a record of wrongs, but instead bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Anger needs a leader that will not fail. And yes, that leader is love. Love is the most qualified to take anger into a better future and not just an angry one. I burned that journal recently. My original intuition was correct. I didn't need it any longer. Anger did its work. It got my attention, and it helped me understand why I was angry. But love was there waiting with a bigger question, a deeper question. Not why was I angry, but will I be able to love again? And as you press toward that thing, changing that thing in your world that makes you angry, let's consider this together. Instead of just fighting the good fight with gritted teeth and clenched fists, let's see how we can open up, and let's love the good love. And let's see where that takes us.